Unless the fruit is quite well developed now, then you can let it mature. But if it's not got any flowers or decent sized fruit, I'd be saying you're done now.
Done and dusted. All right. Thank you, Michael, for the message. Here he is. He's been tarred and feather. He'd been named and shamed. We love him when he comes in. Neutrog, of course, available at all good hardware and garden stores, including Vadoulis Garden Centre.
Absolutely.
Stroeher, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
That teaches you, doesn't it? So.
Yes. Now, watch out. It's not the Sunday roast yet. So.
No,
yeah, unfortunately, I'm not that Facebook
that's all right.
addicted. So,
addicted.
And then I realised that I'd actually never. I'd looked at the page many times, but I'd never actually pushed his little like button. So
thank you for that. Well, it's funny because this is what we were saying. People love to see you. Because they hear your voice and they love the information that you're giving us. Now we can put a name to the T-shirt and a face to the name. So
that's right. Yep. Well, bad luck for them, right?
That's right.
Great to have you on board. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about mulching today, Leith, and of course it's a really good time to mulch.
It is, yes.
So what are the tricks and tips there, Huey?
Well, I guess people mulch for different reasons on different times of the year. So certainly, there's probably three primary reasons. In summer, we do it to keep the moisture in and to keep the roots cool. In autumn, we then mulch to suppress weeds and to keep that warmth in, surprisingly enough. And in spring, we then do it to, again, suppress weeds and probably try to retain some of that moisture. So there's different reasons why you would do it. So now is a really good time to put mulch down to suppress your weeds and obviously keep those roots nice and warm. But, a lot of mulches do the job for many years to come. So, it doesn't really matter when you mulch. You'll still get that benefit in spring or in summer if you mulch now. But the important thing to remember, I think, is that not all mulches are equal. So, things like the pea straw and those light mulches, they're really, really good at keeping the soil cool. But they're not so great at, for example, trapping moisture in the soil because they still allow a lot of air movement. And then you've got really woody mulches. They keep the moisture in, keep your roots cool, but they tend to draw down nitrogen because as they rot, you get that, so people put it out and put out the mulch and 4 or 6 weeks later they go, oh, my plants are starting to look yellow, and it's because nitrogen is being drawn out of the soil, being used by those soil microbes to break down that mulch. So.
And what about, a lot of people say about the woody mulch, the wood chips and stuff like that. Does it attract white ants to the area in the garden?
It has been known to do that. Some of the mulches do. You will get the occasional infestation of white ants in the mulch. Certainly that can be an issue. I think, white ants probably prefer the tree next door, hopefully, or the gum tree, or there are certain trees that are really prone to it, like almonds and that type of thing. They tend to really attract it. But certainly when they don't have anything else to eat, they will start to eat your mulch.
Yes, I have seen it do it. So but of course, Whoflungdung doesn't.
No, mate. Whoflungdung is quite a different product. So it's effectively what we do is in our factory. What comes in is all the chicken manure that chicken growers, the material that chicken growers use on which they raise their chickens. So it's basically a combination of wood chips and straw that comes in. We compost all that for about 4 months. We screen off all the fine material, and what's left over is sort of the chips and pieces of straw. And so they're semi-composted, and that becomes Whoflungdung. So the advantage of that is it's twofold. It's nutrient enriched, as you mentioned earlier, because there's some nutrients in there, so you don't get that nitrogen drawdown. It's partially composted. So what that does, it actually breaks down the surface of the material, and so now it holds water really, really well. So if you're putting it down for things like to try to keep moisture, and it's really good at that because it holds the water. It also holds the water around your plants, so that's really great. So it's quite a different type of mulch because it is a semi-composted material. And over time, as that breaks down, it then releases those nutrients as well. So you get that double benefit. You get a mulching and some nutrient release and fertilising.
The other thing I like about it is, if you're in a bit of a windy spot, it tends, some mulches blow away. Like if you've got pea straw or even the sugarcane mulch, they're very light and blow away. Whereas with Whoflungdung, it knits together It sort of holds together, which is really good. You know, after you apply it, you need to water it in, and then it sort of knits in and stays there quite nicely.
That's right, yeah. So, I mean, I think that's probably one of the important things, as you mentioned just then, is if you do put Whoflungdung down, you really either need to put it down onto a very wet soil, because, and also water it in really, really well, because it has that incredible water holding capacity. So it'll hold enormous amounts of water. So if you just sprinkle the surface, it just won't penetrate. It's exactly the same. I mean, you mentioned it today. Go back, you know, put water on 3 or 4 times. It's a bit like that with Whoflungdung. Once it's been wetted down and sits down, it makes a really nice mat, which suppresses those weeds. And you're right. If it's blowing away, then it's probably not doing the job that it's designed to do, which is actually to keep soil moisture in. And wind is obviously one of the biggest drying factors when it comes to drying out soil. So those light mulches are fantastic in some respect, because they form that nice air pocket as an insulation, but they don't really tend to keep that moisture in. So with Whoflungdung, we try to strike that balance by having some coarse material and some fine material to get that matting.
And of course, having that nutrient there is like, it's an added bonus, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. So once you put it down, you probably don't have to fertilise for a little while, so you can cut back on the fertiliser, which is, you know, this time of the year, I still say to people this is not a bad time of the year to actually get out with a fertiliser, because we are still getting some growth and, you know, getting plants to put some nutrients aside for their winter dormancy. It's a good time to do that, so it's a great time to put Whoflungdung out.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the rapid raisers at the moment. You know, I'm finding that sort of fertiliser generally applied to the whole garden at this time of the year is so beneficial, because it doesn't go crazy pushing all the plants, but it's just feeding those roots and getting them all settled through for the winter time.
Well, that's right. I mean, you know, I think it's all about slowly but surely getting your plants into that condition in which they'll, you know, be happy. And in spring, you know, plants, if they're being fed gently over winter and autumn, and in spring, then they'll bounce and go crazy at that point in time. You really don't need, for most plants, to put a lot of fertiliser on. I think if you're growing vegetables, that's different, because, I mean, there you're looking at lots of leafy greens, so you want to push that along. And you're also removing a lot of those nutrients when you're taking the vegetables out. But for your general gardens, just you know, gentle feed over an extended period of time is obviously much, much better than a big hit.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the other thing I think before we finish on mulches is try to keep the mulch away from the stem of the plant is very important.
That's right, yeah. So we always recommend that you leave at least 5 to 10 centimetres around the edge of the stem, because all mulches, regardless of whether it's Whoflungdung or something else, will trap moisture, and that moisture will then cause rot around, basically collar rot or stem rot. And that's, you know, again, one of those things where people think, oh, just mulch it right up. Look, leave that little ring around it. It's two of the things you can do there is, A, it stops that rot, but also if you're a bit in a rush with the watering, at least you got a little spot where you can put the water directly towards the plant.
Yes, that's
especially
right.
when the plants are small. The root ball's not that big anyway. So yeah.
No, really good tips. It's a perfect time of the year to be getting out and mulching your garden.
Right.
Yeah,
and, you know, you can get it now at Bunnings, and we managed to get into Bunnings as a promo. So
all right,
at Bunnings, but obviously you guys sell it in bales.
Yes, we sell it in the big bags, and it's very popular, and people are loving it.
That's
and
good.
Can you still get it in bulk? I think
you can. Yeah, there's still a few places. There's Garden Grove, Adelaide Hills Supplies have it. Who else? I think. Hang on. Who else? Blackwood Landscape Supplies.
Yes,
have got it, and Button Rose Landscaping and Garden Supplies also.
Okay. So
there's a few places around, but always a good idea to phone up, because, you know, they get it in, and then when they sell out, they may not reorder straight away. So always a good idea if we drive down there with your trailer and realise it's not there.
Or just go to Vadoulis Garden Centre and just pick it up by the bag.
Yep, absolutely.
No, the bales are flying at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. Have you got it interstate as well, or is it just...
Yeah, no, it's all over Australia now. Anywhere from Queensland all the way through to WA. So only in bales, obviously.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
can't surely ship.
Have you got Neutrogs around the country, or are you primarily?
Yes. No, we got it everywhere. Yeah, I mean, we have obviously Victoria, South Australia, are our two biggest states, and that's because it's closer. And then WA, we have quite a reasonable penetration, and it's not too bad in New South Wales. A little bit into Queensland. So, you know, whenever you have a company like Neutrog or any fertiliser company, you're always competing with local products.
Yes.
And then, you know, long distances, Australia's a big country. You realise that, you know, the shipping charges are also quite quite expensive. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's the whole thing. So I guess if you're living in Queensland, you might use more sugarcane mulch.
That's right.
Than pea straw because it's available there, and that's the sensible thing to do as well.
Very good. Well, if people want to find out more,
info@neutrog.com is probably the easiest way to contact us, or Facebook is the other way.
That's right. You can do it by I'm just thinking how many employees work at Neutrog. We could get all those friends on board as well.
Yes.
Dr. Yui will go back and tell everyone when he gets back to work on Monday. Available at all good garden and hardware stores, including, of course, Vadoulis Garden Centre, Main North Road, Agorla. Well worth a trip. And the other thing that we should mention is that we've got some stuff to give away today too, so thank you for that as well.
No worries. We'll ship that out to whoever. I mean, ideally, if you find someone that wants to put it around their citrus trees or something like that, it's really, really good around that.
Can you put it around everything?
You can.
Or is there a specialty
because it does have some nutrients in it, we sort of advise that if you're going to put it around seedlings and that sort of thing, only put it down to about a thickness of 2 centimetres, so an inch or so. Around bigger trees, you can put it down to maybe 5 to 7 centimetres. And the advantage of that is you're not sort of putting massive amounts down. It means a bag of the material or bale of the material actually spreads over a reasonable area. So we've got a couple of bales to give away. So
lovely.
I'll let Milton work out who we give it away to, who will be best suited for that. And before you go, you enjoyed Milt talking a bit of science on the way?
It was great, yeah. I love it when people start using words like anaerobic.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you just listen on, I might use a few more.
Just drop a couple in. You two could be the new host of the Curiosity Show. Just continue the science talk. Yui, always great to see you. Thank you for coming in. Neutrog.com.au, and we urge everyone for their gardens to get into the Whoflungdung, and available from bulk to bags and away you go.
Lots of places,
Thanks so much for coming in. Always great to see you, and thanks for being on board too on the Facebook.
Liking us.
So you make one mistake around here and they're all over you. 11 minutes to 8, Michael Keelan's Weekend.
Win the ultimate food